I'm here with my friend Adam. One of the many people that work at the Portland Occupier, and we're basically at Pioneer Courthouse Square reporting on the Solidarity with the Quebec thing. And I'm curious, man, why do you think it is important for people to stand in solidarity with what's going on in Quebec right now?
A couple different things. I would say that student debt is a global issue. Also, cost of schooling and the privatization of the schooling system and the funding of education is also part of the problem, saddling people with huge amounts of debt. I've got over $50,000 in student loan debt myself, and I'm probably going to have that for the rest of my life. And that's what the school systems are doing, and that's the outrage. Yeah. So there's also that. There's also the idea that they've had their rights abused. They've been physically abused. They've been arrested, pepper sprayed, tear gassed on a recurring basis when they're trying to go walk in a public street and exercise their freedom of speech. And that's a problem. And I won't stand for that. And I don't think any of these other people here will either.
I have another question for you, Adam.
Sure.
Do you think it would be a good idea that if, when you got your student loan application, that it would have some sort of indicator on there about how long you would be voluntarily, by contract, putting yourself in indentured servitude, how many years it would take to actually pay off the loan? Do you think that would be advantageous to have that kind of a thing on there?
Definitely. The more information, the better. I think a lot of the problem is the fact that the amounts are so abstract. I've never seen $1,000 all in one place, so the idea of $50,000 is kind of meaningless to me. And when they raise it by another $1,000, that's just even more meaninglessness. Especially when you tie that to the fact that there's no guarantee of employment after you graduate. So the fact that you are basically buying this commodified education and taking on this abstract amount of debt without any ability to trade it in or otherwise pay it off being set up for you, it's kind of, there's a problem with disconnect in information there going on.
And, one last thing. I've heard people talk about actually being so desperate that they've tried to use credit cards to pay off student loans. Have you ever heard of this before, this phenomenon?
I wouldn't recommend it. I've heard of all kinds of things. People, people will do crazy things to pay off their student loan debt because it never expires. Because you have no collateral, no house that they can foreclose upon, they have nothing to take but your life. So you're stuck with student loan debt forever. So what people would do to get out of that, I really can't say the full extent of what people would do. I can imagine crazy things, and the privatization of that debt is what a lot of these banks want to do. So they want you to put it on their credit card. They want it to be a private loan that's not subsidized by the government, not controlled, where they can jack up the interest rate and put you even in a worse place than you already are. So,
cool. Thank you.
Yep.
This is Mike Bluehair reporting for OccupyPortlandNews.com.